Welcome back to the home of the turd. It is the toilet. Today I'm bringing forward an upcoming medieval strategy game. It's Knights of Honor 2 Electric Boogaloo, Sovereign. Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign. Every single strategy gamer should be on the lookout for this game. If you've never heard about it, stay tuned. And if you have, well, stay tuned as well, for we're going to talk about an amazing game. But Turd, the game isn't even out yet. How do you know it's amazing? Ladies and gents, I've been going through the dev diaries and I've played Knights of Honor 1. And in fact, I've made a video on it, so if you want to check it out, just go on the top right of the screen, little flag right about here. So, what is Knights of Honor? Knights of Honor is as if Europa, Universalis, and Total War had a child out of love and competition. It combines the real-time grand strategy aspect of Paradox and the real-time battles of Total War, and the game studio who's in charge of it is Black Sea Games, together with the publisher THQ Nordic. And the great news about it is that it's coming in on 2021, if all goes well, which I'm pretty sure it will. In my humble opinion, I think that the first game in the series was good, but the campaign was not nearly as interesting as a Paradox game, nor were the battles nearly as good looking and easy to control, which is important, as Total War battles. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not saying it wasn't a good game, it most definitely was a great game. And with the HD mod, Knights of Honor 1 is playable and even more enjoyable than in the past. Way more enjoyable than in the past, I should say, because it works on modern computers. And although both layers of gameplay were not as good as their competition, when you put both together, they were greater than the sum of their parts. And this was the magic of Knights of Honor 1. Truth be told, no other game studio really tried to mimic Total War, or even Paradox for that matter, or maybe if they did, they just weren't successful. Knights of Honor 1 was also sadly overshadowed by the launch of Rome Total War, but oh boy, am I happy that they're making a sequel. For me, these are the three old games that deserve a fair shot at the sequel. They are Black and White 2, Dungeon Keeper 2, and Knights of Honor. And if you've been following the channel, you might have noticed that Dungeon Keeper already has its spiritual successor, so obviously, I'm excited that another game from this list is getting a sequel. So let's talk about Knights of Honor 2 now. I've had a good look through the dev diaries, and the conclusion I got to is that the sequel will be building on its predecessor. It is not the same as the jump from Rome 1 to Rome 2, more like from Crusader Kings 2 to Crusader Kings 3, where everything is very familiar but with some fresh paints, and the existing mechanics will just be deeper and more connected to every single other mechanic in the game. I've heard how culture will affect the campaign being much more important than in the first game. It's now more important than ever to get a hold on that, converting provinces to your own culture. It's no longer just religion making an impact. Every character can now lead an army, but marshals will be the best at that and can recruit larger retinues. Characters will level up as they do things, and they'll be able to learn different skills according to their traits. This is not new, but now the skills that you can learn are a function of the character himself, of the character traits, which is really, really good. And what's exciting is that different skills will allow different character types to do different things. So for example, a marshal with the archery skill will be able to train larger archer units, and they'll be a little bit more experienced, while a spy with archery will not be getting these bonuses, it will have other bonuses instead. I know it was a bit anticlimactic that I don't know the bonuses really, but, you know, it is what it is. They are just going to do that. Different skills have different bonuses for different character types, which is interesting. It's very, very interesting. Diplomacy will be more complex, or so they say, but I believe them. You will be able to call a coalition against a certain enemy, and at the end of the war you can divide the spoils with your allies. Now they did not say how you would divide, which region goes to whom, but you can do that. I'm thinking that it's probably something like Paradox does, right? There's that. It's a little bit up in the air, but you can do that, which is really, really good. The developers have also stated that the battles will be larger than the previous game. The only thing that makes me a little bit sad about this is that the unit size is quite small, and it will be comparable to the last game, and nothing like Total War, okay? It's still fairly small scale when you compare it to Total War, but it's gonna be good, okay? It's gonna be good. Don't be sad about it. Remember, size doesn't matter. So small battles, large battles, it doesn't matter. What matters if it is engaging and good. But I'll have you know that with modding support, perhaps modders can make the game really large scale when it comes to the battles, and yeah, I'm excited to see that. And overall, on the battles still, I am quite excited to see how they work, since honestly, I haven't seen any battle gameplay, but I'll definitely be here to check it out when it comes out. I want to point out how gorgeous the map looks, really. It reminds me of Civilization 6, and it's quite charming. What we are able to see on the map is quite familiar if you played Knights of Honor 1, with the towns spread out over the provinces and the resources they produce showing up on top of them. This adds an interesting layer of strategy, allowing you to burn your enemies' towns and starve them of resources before actually attacking their settlements, while also giving you a motive to sally out and stop your enemies from doing that to you. And yes, your armies can be sent anywhere on the map. It's not like Paradox game where your armies move from province to province. You can literally send your armies anywhere, like a Total War game, but in real time. How awesome is this? This is absolutely amazing. This is what I really like about Knights of Honor. And speaking of armies, your units will gain experience as they fight, making elite units extremely useful and powerful. It also seems to me that there are more types of peasants. I don't know about that, it's just what I see from the footage right here. In Knights of Honor 1, you had peasants, and when you'd recruit units, you'd use those peasants. Here you seem to have peasants and maybe soldiers or something like that, but there's clearly two types there, or maybe three types actually. I saw three types. Perhaps each of these will allow you to recruit different types of units or something like that. It's also worth noting that there will be 3 different start dates to the campaign on 3 major key points in medieval history that the developers thought would be fun to throw the players into. This follows the trend of the previous game where we also had 3 different start dates, but I still don't know which start dates that will be, but I guess maybe Mongolian invasions, maybe early medieval period, and then maybe on the late medieval period or something like that. We don't know, maybe that's it. One of the focuses of Knights of Honor 2 will, of course, be the royal family and your cabinet. You'll manage these and leverage them to your advantage. Sending spies to wreak havoc in an enemy province, perhaps sending a trader to siphon funds to your cause, or a diplomat to broker deals with other nations. This is very, very interesting, and the focus on the characters is actually a pretty good thing. And also, when Total War is doing this, focusing a little bit more on characters, and I really love that, because you're able to tell a story a little bit better, right, if the characters are more fleshed out. Anyway, Knights of Honor 2 isn't going for the ultra-detailed characters or interactions like Crusader Kings, neither the epic battles of Total War. But it is trying to simplify these ideas, putting them together to make the most fun experience. And said by the developers themselves, they will always put fun and engaging gameplay above historical accuracy, which I absolutely agree with. It doesn't matter how accurate your game is if nobody's willing to play it. And as such, it is with great expectation that I'll wait for this game. It's been a while since we've had a truly grand-scale medieval game coming out of other than the behemoths from Paradox, okay? And I am honestly not aware of any other game that tries this formula. Real-time campaigns plus real-time battles with this amount of detail. The first installment on this series is to this day a massively underrated strategy game, and its sequel is shaping up to be a lot better than it. This is why I'm so excited for Knights of Honor 2. I don't think it will compete with Total War or even Paradox games, and I honestly don't think it's even trying to do so. Maybe it'll get some players from Total War, maybe some players from Paradox, but we can always play both or all of these games, alright? So, you know, I have played like Total War, and I played Paradox, and I do it on off one and then the other and then the other, you know, so I can still add this game, and there is definitely a place in my heart for yet another strategy game, that is for sure. I can't wait to see more from THQ Nordic on Knights of Honor 2, and whenever I have more news, I'll happily share them with you all. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy strategy games, medieval games, RPG games, make sure to hit that subscribe button to press the thumbs up if you did like this one, and right, the usual outro, right? Almost forgot about this. Beware of the olive oil. Do be good to your pet codfish. Remember to order some of those. And last but not least, Portugal, caralho.
I'm in Portugal, bitch.